listening to Tapped In, Buncombe County's half hour to empower on WRES 100.7 FM in Asheville. Listen up and get tapped into local important resources, information, and topics. Learn more about the topics of today's show at buncombecounty.org. Okay, it's time to get tapped in. Hello, 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 and greetings to all who are listening to my voice. It is that time. It is that time to get tapped in. I hope you all are enjoying the coldest spring ever as we transition into the springtime. I am your host, Zakia Bell Rogers, and I am co-hosting with
Leonard Jones.
That's right. Leonard Jones, our Community Leader Award winner. And today, Leonard and I come to you from the Communications and Public Engagement Department of Buncombe County, better known as CAPE. Joining us today, Leonard, is?
Joining us today is Deanna Lamont with Buncombe County Partnership for Children, coming to discuss with us North Carolina Pre-K. She is the director of the Pre-K Expansion Program, as well as Cindy Knox. And she is the Pre-K Outreach and Enrollment Coordinator. And they are here to discuss with us around Pre-K enrollment. So welcome, Deanna and Cindy.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Welcome, welcome. Okay, so first things first, can you tell us just a little bit who you are, where you're from, and then you can tell us what you do. So I'm going to go alphabetical order. So I'm going to go Cindy.
Hey there, I'm Cindy Knox, and I am, I'm from Guatemala, raised in California, been in South Carolina, North Carolina for the past almost 20 years. So, I work with Buncombe Partnership for Children as a preschool outreach and enrollment coordinator.
All right, Deanna, it's all you.
All me. Hey, Deanna Lamont. I work for Buncombe Partnership for Children as well. For about 3 years, I was the Early Childhood Systems Coordinator, and we got some funding from Buncombe County this past year to build capacity, and eventually expand NC Pre-K slots. And so the project that we're here talking about today is part of that bigger effort. And I go back and say I grew up actually truly in Myrtle Beach, grew up there. But I've lived in Black Mountain actually for about a little over 20 years now.
Okay.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so now you're a native after you hit 20.
It depends on who you ask.
Oh, yeah. Because if you ask a native,
I know, right? I'm just a baby. I just got here yesterday. But yeah.
I was like, we still had Walmart and Kmart. And we just want to clear one thing up. It is not daycare. We do not call it daycare.
Amen? No.
Right?
Exactly.
It is pre-K and childcare.
Yes.
Right. So, okay. So let's talk about this. What are the age ranges for daycare?
You just did it.
I just said it. Pre-K and for childcare. What are the age ranges?
Sure. So the term that we at Buncombe Partnership for Children use the most is early childhood education, which early childhood education spans, from birth, right? Because children start learning the day they are born, and really even before. So early childhood education. When you talk about pre-K, pre-K usually is the word that really means the year before kindergarten. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about NC Pre-K, that's a state-funded program that really works with children who turn 4 by August 31st. So it's the year before they go into a kindergarten class. Mm-hmm. NC Pre-K just serves those 4-year-olds. Head Start, which is also serves a lot of pre-K students. They are preschool, just to get real complicated and confusing, and preschool often will include 3-year-olds. So Head Start serves 3 and 4-year-olds. NC Pre-K is just that 4-year-old year.
Okay, and which makes sense because preschool is like, this is before you get to pre-K and you learn all those rules of sitting down and following the line, because it's a lot of skills they have to learn or have before they get to kindergarten.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not just, circles and colors.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And so with the pre-K program, what are some of the eligibility for people to apply for this program?
Yeah, so since we are looking at both Head Start and NC Pre-K, so Head Start, they follow the federal poverty guidelines for their eligibility. So, for instance, a family of 4, that guideline is 30,000, and NC Pre-K, we look at the median income, and their is a family of 4 is 74,000. So they look at the income and the family size, but they also look at other things like children who have any special needs disabilities, receiving any kind of services like speech, OT, anything like that. Head Start also looks at any family circumstances, like families who are going through homelessness, DV situations, any history of substance abuse. They look at a lot of other factors that, might make a family categorically eligible. So also foster children, they are definitely a priority. And then NC Pre-K also, they look at, children that are receiving services, IEPs, of any kind, things like that to make them qualify.
And so where are the locations of the centers?
Well, we have over 30 sites at this point. So
really?
Yeah. Last year we started off with 25, I believe, and then this year we're up to 31-ish.
Okay.
So
just in Buncombe County.
Buncombe County,
okay.
Yeah. Now Head Start, they do have services for families in Madison County.
Okay.
Families just would have to apply directly with community action opportunities for that those locations. But Head Start has a lot of classrooms in the elementary schools, and then we have partner programs like private sites that are like Child Care Network, Christine Avery, Learning Center, Berner Early Learning Center, and YWCA.
Soon to be Don Collins.
Don Collins is one.
In Black Mountain.
Okay.
So we have the Head Start centers where they will serve kind of dually funded NC Pre-K and Head Start. So all of those centers kind of count. And are part of, if a family applies through Buncombe Pre-K, they're considered for both Head Start and NC Pre-K slots. So all those Head Start slots, a lot of those are in the elementary schools. And then, like Cindy said, private centers and also Asheville City Schools. They have 5 sites in different elementary schools, one in the high school as well. If a family applies to Pre-K through Buncombe Pre-K, they can choose. They see the full list. They see a map. They see the mileage from their home for each kind of site. They can choose if for some reason they want, particularly want Head Start. Head Start offers some kind of family support things that NC Pre-K doesn't. So they might want those extra family supports to prioritize a Head Start site. NC Pre-K sites, those private centers tend to offer a little bit more in the way of hours, like after school care kind of hours. So they might prioritize one of those private sites. It would be an NC Pre-K site because they need care until 5:30 or something like that. So there are lots, they can see all of that if they go to the Buncombe Pre-K site to apply.
And do you have that site information in case the listeners listening right now?
Yeah, they just have to go to buncombeprek.com and it will take them right to our website, the portal, where they'll be able to create an account using their name, email, and create an account, and it leads them to the application.
And currently y'all in y'all enrollment period, correct?
Yes.
And how long is that enrollment period from, or when did it open up?
So we opened up, I want to say the 2nd of February. So right now it's like our, crunch time where we just get a lot of applications coming in. It really stays open all throughout the school year up until, I think we put a flexible deadline about end of March, but really we accept applications all throughout the year. But right now it's like a really good time to submit those applications before that first round of placement that we try to aim to do that end of May.
And with the
and with Lena's on a roll.
And with the placement, do the parent have a choice in that matter, or do they put down preference, like tier 1, 2, 3?
They do, yeah. They can do up to 3 locations.
Okay.
If they have one that they just really need and want, they can just put 1.
Okay.
But they have options up to 3. So you're top. If you're like, I really want this one, second and third. And and they have the flexibility. It's not like the school systems where you have to attend your district. It's, you can select as long as you're able to, provide transportation to your child to and from that location. You can do it like based on your job. So if you want to be closer to your job, or if you want to be closer to your home, that's flexible. The only ones that we don't have flexibility for is Asheville City Schools District. You have to live within the Asheville City School District to apply to those. But this year we made it easy where if your address isn't within that district, those locations won't even show up.
Okay.
Unless you have children already in that district, or if you're an employee, there's some flexibility with that. And you're able to select any of those sites that are listed on that.
Okay.
So we talked about where they're listed, the sites and all of those things. But what do we need to get our kids in there? What are the qualifications?
Yeah, so documents that we require to have for your application is proof of age. So any document that it has your child's full name and date of birth, like birth certificate, medical or immunization records, for passports we've accepted. Also Medicaid cards, has the child's full name and date of birth on there. Legal documents that has that information we are able to accept. And then your household income for 2022. So we prefer the 1040 tax forms and W-2s, and then but there's some families that don't have those, so we can also see a full month's pay stub for each family in the household that's employed. And then if you don't have that, then we can discuss other options. But those are the main documents that we take.
And I just want to jump in to say Cindy does an amazing, amazing job of working with families when they don't have that documentation, or, when they they had this job last year, their 2020 tax form says one thing, but now they're in a really different financial situation and they need to document a different way. Cindy will work with families and stay on the phone with them for quite a while. The goal is to get families this service, right? We're not trying to weed people out. Yeah. We're trying to help people, who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford high quality preschool to get their kids this service, because it does make a huge difference in that child's, potentially that child's whole trajectory.
Yeah. I mean, I've gone back and forth with parents about does this work? It's like, oh, this doesn't quite, fit what we need, but let's try something else. So I really try my best to be able to help families, get the documents needed that's going to work for their application. So
because some families need wraparound, because some of the pre-K and programs aren't 7 to 5. They're some of them in that 3 o'clock regular school, and some of those agencies that they're at will provide the wraparound care. It's a cost, but it's there.
So the both NC Pre-K and Head Start basically offer a 6.5 hour day. It's like a school day length. A lot of families can apply for a child care subsidy in order to pay for those extra hours if they're at a center that offers it. We also, I will say, this year, because of that, the county funding that we've received, that COVID related funding that we've received, we have a little more flexibility to work with families to help with transportation and those wraparound extra, after school care hours. So I really encourage people, if you have thought about applying to, NC Pre-K or Head Start, but said I don't have reliable transportation, or I can't afford gas money every day, or, there's a little bit more flexibility that we are able, we can't solve all the problems, partly because staffing is such a challenge right now. we have had people say, I will give you buses if you can find bus drivers, and we can't find anybody to drive a bus.
Wow.
To provide transportation, but we have some flexibility to help families who, might, if they had a gas card, that would help pay for gas to get kids to pre-K, we can do that this year. So really encourage families who might see some barriers, might see some reasons that like they've just kind of thrown up their hands or thought maybe this isn't a possibility for them to apply, to try, to reach out.
And so I know we have discussed sort of the eligibility, some of the income requirements as well. So what are some of the benefits? I heard you say you wanted to increase people to participate in this program. What's the benefits if you get your kids in pre-K, NC pre-K or Head Start?
Yeah, I have some background as a early Head Start teacher, so I definitely know the benefits of what are, early exposure in a classroom setting for children. So really the base that we want children to have at this age is the social emotional development. So really learning, everything from being able to share, problem solving, being able to communicate their needs and wants, being able to go through that separation anxiety that they might have, and what better time to do it than before kindergarten, because at kindergarten the expectations are so much higher now than it was like back when I was in kindergarten. So if they can have that head start, of then being able to go through all of these different experiences at a earlier age, by the time that they're in kindergarten, that base of social emotional development is going to be pretty, good and solid. So that way, when they do get to kindergarten, they're going to be able to focus a little bit more on that academic skills because they've got this base already established. So, and being able for them to know that there's another adult they can trust and they can connect with and establish good relationships with, that's super important for them to have before kindergarten.
And I will just add to that. I actually did, I met with a group of about 10 kindergarten teachers. This was close to 2 years ago now, on Zoom, of course, 2 years ago. But I was talking to them about what they saw as the benefits to pre-K and to early education. And to a person, everybody said, basically what Cindy said was, we know how to teach kids ABCs. We know how to teach kids, their numbers and the colors and those things, those academic things. But we can't teach kids if they can't sit down for 30 minutes at a time. And if they're fighting with their friends, or if, every little motion triggers them and kind of catches their attention. We just want kids who can come in and be comfortable in a learning situation in a kindergarten kind of setting, know how to interact with their peers so that we can do the teaching. We're not asking everybody to come in knowing all their letters and numbers and all the things, but coming in and knowing how to sit and how to enjoy listening to a book, right? That's a huge thing and opens the doors to all kinds of learning that happens in kindergarten. If the kids already know, like sit on somebody's lap or sit on the floor, curl up on a pillow and listen to a book and really enjoy that and talk about that book and ask some questions. That's the stuff that's developed in kindergarten. And I will also just say the other thing that we know kind of from research is kids who attend a really high quality pre-K, and I will just say Head Start and NC pre-K both have teachers who have the same exact qualifications as a kindergarten teacher. They are high quality. Kids who attend a high quality pre-K, like research says, they have higher high school graduation rates. They have higher employment rates. They have lower levels of like needing special education through school, lower involvement with, police and juvenile justice and things like that. Like getting a strong start and a strong sense of, I know how to interact with my peers. I know how to interact with other adults. I'm comfortable in these kinds of situations where I'm learning and growing and being challenged lasts a lifetime. And it's, a lot of kids go into elementary school if they haven't had that kind of experience, and it's overwhelming. And if you kind of get off to a bad start and you decide in kindergarten that you hate school and you hate learning, and that's a real different trajectory. So pre-K really does that in a beautiful, nurturing way.
I know the pandemic, a lot of the pre-Ks, they just made arrangements and changed the way they interact with the parents, but they kept the pre-K open. I know this because my daughter was in pre-K, and it was so amazing. She went, they never got COVID. We got pictures. We watched her graduation on Zoom. And when she did go to kindergarten, it was all virtual. And we struggled with that. But so now you all have all of these pandemic babies.
Yeah.
And so they were isolated for 2 years. And so now they're coming in and they're learning. And pre-K is so important for them because a lot of them don't have any of those skills because of the pandemic.
Yeah, I've gotten so many comments from parents about, one of the questions on our application is like, do you have any concerns for your child's development? And some of them have mentioned, oh, well, they are a COVID baby, so they haven't had that opportunity to interact with other children. They don't really have that social skills, how to play with others. So yeah, I think these next few years are so crucial for these children that haven't been able to socialize with other children. And also another benefit of being in pre-K is that teachers are able to help families see that they might need some little extra support that parents might not know because maybe they don't have other children around that same age to compare. Like, this is a typical, behavior, and maybe this is not quite, so typical, or they might need a little assistance in some speech language that they might have not picked up because your child, and you understand what they're saying because you're with them all the time. But get them out into another setting and other people might not understand them as well. Teachers can pick up on some children that might need referrals to evaluations, may need some little extra assistance. So rather than waiting on and figuring it out until kindergarten, you have those extra, years right before kindergarten to get that, assistance before they do go to kindergarten and they're starting to fall a little more behind because they could have had that support early on. So that's another huge benefit for children to attend pre-K.
Yeah. And is pre-K all year round, like in the summer, or is it over in the summer, or how does that work?
Yeah. So both Head Start and NC Pre-K are typically a 10-month program. So, we follow the Buncombe County school system. There are some locations, especially the private side locations, that may offer some summer care that, typically depending on each site. But we do have some options. We're looking at some options for summer care for some of the Head Start sites as well. So,
yeah, again, this is one of the things that with that local county money, we are trying really hard to expand the number of these pre-K slots that offer summer care, that offer extended hours during the day, because we know a lot of families, again, look at that and just throw up their hands and say, wow, I'm not going to put my kid in something for 9 months. And then what am I going to do with them in the summer? Do I quit my job? So we can't just, fix all the challenges, but we do have some more flexibility. We're trying to work with Head Start and NC Pre-K providers to expand, some of those options. So,
and it teaches kids so much schedule and what to expect when going to Big People School. I remember when my daughter was in pre-K, when they were talking about going to the big school and walking in line, and you don't know how important that stuff is. Because when they're that small, it is organized chaos. Like, they're just, they're walking. It's just like coloring outside the line. It is like, it is so in those little things, being able to sit down, you were saying, being able to sit down and listen to a book. And I read to my daughter all the time. But, of course, she would get up, she would go get a stuffed animal. She'd come back, she'll lay down, she'll get underneath the covers, take the cover off. She would do all of these things. But I did notice after she started pre-K, she got better And then she would mimic what she was learning. She would have all her teddy bears, and she would have a book, and they would teach her how to make up like stories to like the book. And so that's what she would do. So there were so many things that she gained that I could not give her. And Randy just gave us a hand. And one day I'm going to bring Uncle Randy in here so everybody can see him. So since we have 5 minutes, we're going to have to wrap up. What are the most important things that you all want our community to know about NC Pre-K and preschool?
Okay. Well, I will just start and kind of, repeat the fact that pre-K helps kids, engage with that, like a classroom setting in a super safe space and a super nurturing, age-appropriate space. So they realize that they love learning and enjoy being with kids their age, all that stuff before they get to kindergarten. Mm-hmm. It is a nurturing way to get them ready so that when they get that kindergarten class, they're not being yelled at all the time for the way they're walking in line, or they're not, like those things that early on will tell a kid, you don't really belong here, which is sad and unfortunate, and that should not be the way it is. But pre-K kind of helps them with those things, and it's super important, and it gives kids this lifelong gift. I'm going to pass it to Cindy to say all the important stuff about the website and the phone number. And
Yeah. Well, I always like to say that I like for families to know that there's options out there and know the resource that a lot of families know Head Start because it's in a huge part of their community, and they know it because the neighbors had their kids there or they had older children that go there. But sometimes they don't know that NC Pre-K is also an option because it's not like a building that says this is NC Pre-K. So just informing families that that's also an option. But also, they can go to the website, buncomprek.com, fill out the application. If they have questions, they please always, feel free to call me. My number is 828-419-1030. I'm the one person that answers that line, so you'll always get the same person answering your questions, or if you have other questions later, I'm going to be the same person that answers the call, so we get very familiar with each other. My number is all over our outreach material, all over the website. That way they always know where to find me and ask any questions. And if they need help with technology, is just not their best friend, they could always call me, can do it over the phone. Really, we're trying to make it as easy as possible, eliminate any barriers for families to be able to complete an application. If it means that they text me documents, that's great. If they want to email it, if we need to meet somewhere for 2 minutes just to hand over stuff that I can take a picture, like really just any way that I can help, I like to make that very clear. Sometimes our program's not quite the right one, but I like to refer them to the right place. So if I can directly assist them, I'll definitely find a way to lead them to the right person. So
that's awesome.
And I'm also bilingual, by the way. I forget to mention that. I am bilingual, so I do speak Spanish. So if anybody has any families that speak Spanish, they can call me and I can directly assist them. So they'll always have somebody that speaks Spanish available to help. And we also have somebody lined up to help with any Russian, Ukrainian interpretation. So that's also an option.
Awesome.
And so I'd just like to strongly encourage community. We'd heard a lot of great benefits of just having your kids ready and prepared before they grace the halls of elementary school and kindergarten. So pre-K or Head Start program is a great program for our little people out there in the county. And so I'm a former Head Start kid myself, way back in the 80s in Penske View. And so I just strongly encourage. There's a lot of great benefits and look at where we're at today. And so please go out to www.buncombecountyprek.com and apply for your 4-year-old to be ready and prepared as they go into the new school year.
And it is me, Zakia, and I also was a pre-K kiddo in the 80s, but not here in Buncombe County, but I was a pre-K kid. And I think a lot of times that we want our kids to be kids a little bit longer. And as Leonard called them, the little people, they are just adorable and the most precious at that age. But if you could give your kid a head start in the right direction, if you could give your kid the toolbox to make better decisions when they got to kindergarten. So this is the chance for you to do that. Just go on to Buncombe Pre-K.com and look up the information, see what's available. And like, Deanna said earlier, sometimes we're very worried about those 2 months. You got at least 7 months to work real hard to figure out and work with your staff to figure out where we're going to put the little one during the summer. We are one Buncombe at everything we do. We want to give all of our residents, no matter how small they are, the start to become a great person and live their dreams. You never know what you get when you put your kid in pre-K. You may get a community leader, like Leonard Jones. Yeah. You might get a community development specialist, like myself. Or you might get the president. You have no idea. So let's together take the bricks of this program and put it in our children's foundation. And remember, together as a village, we can build stronger kids that become stronger adults who become stronger leaders. And this is Tapped In. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to Tapped In, Buncombe County's half hour to empower, here on WRES 100.7 FM in Nashville. Learn more about today's topics at buncombecounty.org. Otherwise, stay tuned for more great episodes coming up.